No, 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 no. Okay, so we've got a cat. Hello, dear. So today I've decided to copy Alyssa in the books and Meredith and Andy, and reread some of my old works. And my old works come from 1995, 1995, 1996, around there. I found an old box worth of stuff, or full of stuff, that we'll pull from, but the majority of it is influenced by beatnik literature because you know we all rebel when we're young, and I got into the beatniks and whatever. So I got some books I pulled off my shelf here just to give you an example. So we got Jack Kerouac's On the Road, Allen Ginsberg's Howl, William S. Burroughs' Naked Lunch. I've got like a million other books back there, but those are the most popular ones, so people will recognize those. So most of the stuff I wrote when I was younger was short poetry and stream of consciousness, which was so freeing. I love stream of consciousness writing. Just whatever came into your head as it came into your head down on the page. And almost everything here was written on a typewriter, which was awesome. And some of it I wrote with my friend Chris, and sometimes what we'd do is we'd set up two typewriters back to back, and then we'd start a story, and then 5 minutes in, we'd switch typewriters, and we could reread the last sentence, and then continue typing based off of that last sentence, and then we'd switch every 5 minutes until we had a whole page. We called that switcheroos. It was pretty fun. So I'll read you some of this stuff. We wrote zines, which were popular back in the day. And we held a poetry, art, and music night where we read off some of this work. Do I have? That's my wall. Oh, I had to print this on the thickest paper possible. This is the poster. Cambot put this on Still Store. If you recognize that reference, put the acronym in the comments, please. This is the poster for our poetry, art, and music night. We've got Chris Lyon and Ian Henderson, Idiom, Frayed, Playing Possum, Sean McPherson, Ross Butcher, Drew Poole, Crail Gillies, and walk-ins are welcome. December 6th, 1996 is when we did this. $5. It's not bad. $5 at the door. Doors open at 7. Show starts at 19. Bring money for zines, CDs, and the bar. C'est ça. Okay. Zine number 1 is 1919. Pregnant woman with a trident on the cover, protecting her offspring. Zine 2, boy chasing head. This was originally done on yellow cardstock, but I just changed the background to yellow and printed it off for this purpose. So let's try to read some stuff from the first one. Oh, there's also a third one, which was issue 1 revisited. And the fourth one, which never saw the light of day, but I have tons of material for it. So maybe one day I'll revive that, and we'll actually sort of publish issue 4. If you're interested in PDF copies of any of this, I'm happy to send it to you. Sign up to my newsletter on ianhendersonbooks.ca. You can get all this stuff through the description. And I'll just shoot you an email with the PDFs for these two things that I'm doing today. Unless I only make it through one today. Rebelling Against the Collective Oligarchy of the Mind. A collection of random thought by Ian Henderson and Chris Lyon. Oh, so pretentious. "1919, a collection of random thought to be centered around a declaration of the independence of the imagination and the rights of man to his own madness," by Salvador Dali. We'll move on. If it doesn't say who wrote it, honestly, I have no way of remembering. This was 27 years ago. So, this is the story of Herman, the happy-go-lucky mollusk. The end. I tried to be inebriated when doing this today, but my wife started yelling at me, so I have a tea and I'm slowly starting to sober up. Worm. Background pushed forward. Loudness conquers all. Horn or siren, man or machine, pounding, hitting, slamming at my skull. I need silence or peace. Wishes on a lamp. To be alone, in darkness. Break the cycles. Time is not my friend. It continues the pain. Up the stairs to the roof, to a bottle and a ledge and a test. Bottle is almost empty. Nights of weakness. Cars, buses, planes, people. Tonight I finish it off. I mean, let's just throw ourselves off a bridge right now. I loved being young. You could just write whatever the hell you wanted to. Portrait of the Artist by Ian. Reflect. Man's hatred brings him together. It's never too soon to start. Everyone fights as one. We will start a war to protect us. The radio is dead. We sit and wait. We sit and wait peacefully. Each family has an opinion. The children can stay up and listen. As the world waits and prays together. Reflect. And of course, I'm super clever. So the radio is dead is the center of the mirror, and then each line on either side of that is a reflection of the other. It's like so pretentious and awesome. What do we got? The other ones are by Chris, and then there's some like very small type when you abandon a typewriter at a school. So we'll skip over that. I mean, Chris is great, but it's not my writing, so why would I read it? Hey, Underwood, what's up with you? Also, I'm at home with Arsenio Hall. What were we probably doing? Nothing at all. Then Ian's mom came to the door. If he keeps it up, I just might tell her so. Wah wah. it's, it's fucking nonsense. Okay. Anyway, if you want to read all of that, subscribe to my newsletter and I'll get you the PDF. We were a little bit crazy in these times. What do we got now? Empty Driveway by Chris, A Christmas Story by Ian. Christmas Story. All the brushes are gone, along with the chisels and the machinery and the laughter. They are all gone, and what is left is a cold, society-made workshop without the shop. But that is not all that is left. Oh no, we still have the workers. We still have the workers. Were you to enter this giant carved solid oak front doors, I don't think I read that right. Were you to enter this, eh, Were you to enter the giant carved solid oak front doors of this place 50 years ago, you would have just started seeing the changeover going on. And had you visited it about 100 years ago, you would have seen what it was all about. A fresh, newly built building, still with the smell of cedar floating, stood alone in a valley of snow. I mean, sure, that's not really a story. That's fine. Ian's page of rambling. A bridge, need to rewrite. I mean, we actually published this with like the scribbles on the top. I mean, published. We photocopied it and stapled it and then sold it at that Poetry Art and Music Night show. Right. If I've read this stuff in the Poetry Art and Music Night, I'll try to insert the clips from that. Otherwise, I might just throw the whole Poetry Art and Music Night show at the end of this. Ian's page of rambling. This might take a while, and my eyesight is not the greatest anymore. Smelling the machine reminds one of an antique store. A musty, old clothes and decaying hidden mark. This is the problem with drinking before you start reading. Smelling the machine reminds one of an antique store. A musty, old clothes and decaying hidden mouse carcass smell. One that sifts through your nostrils and coats the whole inside of your being with a sick, nostalgic sludge. A jealousy is impending between the loyal underwood and the new textured black yet to be named. William is a good name, but has already been taken by all deserveds. A Junkie's Christmas is an equally descriptive name, but is not of this author's mind. In fact, your humble narrator hasn't had an original, untaken thought in his life. All is more insightful than his, all has more meaning, for it is pure, uninfluenced, and therefore not for an audience like pre-accepted copied work. Even the style is copied, the method, the background, electric, stimu influence, all is from one William, of the uncensored by own Burroughs. My only as yet written inspiration. What is that word? Having one? Yeah, probably having. Having one is bad, because you become blind to other, perhaps more identifying workings. And, oh, identifying workings. My typewriter is my conduit to the world of rebellious, odd, and therefore unique and creative writings. My substitute TV has been without himself in times of creative. I don't know what that is about. And has me wishing the same at times, but without the dedication of the old man. Mine would be a private battle, submission, turned back against seds, the true hypocritical being nursing on his own self-worthlessness that has transpired through years of unidentified being, no single identifying feature that was not possessed by others of my kind. Knowing no original thoughts, but those altered from remembrances of interesting hors d'oeuvres of life. Age is a lot to the young. No knowledge of the missings in their lives. They need not feel what could identify them. It would be too soon imposed, unweathered learnings on young, influenced by all and none, always wanting to believe in the Christmas spirit, for if they have that, then they have control. Ever all that they believe, that's probably over. They have control over all that they believe and feel, then can control the incoming youth imprints that other unfounds have not experienced in themselves more than they have left Daddy's Little League team. It's something. It's something. All known is giving nothing, is completely yours when you're young. All is repetition, memorization, and regurgitation, much like school, perfect for the system in which they are supposed to exist. From thereafter, eventually all will become clear that nothing ever will. Lives will be spent either ignoring the happenings of odd or reading works of those who need audiences to make sense of their own lives, thinking that they are helping others. All are blind or are simply playing dumb because knowledge is power and no one wants the responsibility of running a careless nation, so mindlessness are set to be political powers of the people to solve the interstate bridge crisis and be a father to those who cannot piss without a helping hand telling them where to aim. The smell is fierce with this machine, and I love it. The faster the better. Type, the more I don't know. Type, the more my machine rewards me with mind stimulation, fumes of mothballs, and other old things forgotten by all but those who seek the specific that help them explore who writers say that they are. I am no one that you cannot read. All that I seem, just wanting to find some meaning in a Polaroid or an account executive, or in fact the whole of what is. For now I will conform, but eventually I will pretend to know what the hell is going on, and then I will write a book to tell others that my understanding will help them deal with the unfair world, and they need not despair, for there is always what you were meant to be, and that is a full-time liar until you make your mark and others follow you, assuming that because you actually did something, that you know what it was that you were supposed to do, and so all will follow the one who acts. Oh, yeah, we all believe that the government is doing the right thing. That's not how you spell right, you fucking moron. And of course, they're all finding the people, follow them because they are in power. Life is good. Cat on lap, not the best. Okay, cat. Sally, get down. I have incredibly important things to read here. Life is good, making sense to them. All is well in the world of the occupied. The end is unwritten, but you can pretty much guess it by the exact moment in your life when you stop following and start leading. It doesn't matter if you are wrong. It just matters that you are doing something productive with your time before you die, and that if you give hope to others, they will be able to do the same thing when they get to your point in life. Dear God, you say, well, believe in anything but everything, because yourself is never to be trusted, because you lead you astray, and therefore all being astray must be led. Believe in the act of leading or being led. Actually, forget all that. I was just rambling. The end. See, like, I remember writing that. Nonsense. There might have been a little bit of alcohol involved in that. Oh, artwork. Underwood by Ian. I want to smoke a pipe. I want to smoke a pipe. A nice one with a metal throat. I want a pipe to grow old with. The tobacco must be strong. It must smell rough. I want to smoke a pipe. I want tongue cancer. I want horrible lung disease. I want Underwood to share it with me. It's all very uplifting. I should be a children's writer. I should have been. Do not use rough copy. Yes. God, this is going to be rough. Okay, if I remember correctly, this was a switcheroo, so I don't know who wrote which paragraph. But every 5 minutes we switched. Turn of the century farm. Low red sun setting, or rising, depending on your point of view. Old farmer in straw hat chewing tobacco. Spits brown stains on chin. Old farmer Jones has no desire left for his bedridden wife. Like a cow with the apoptosis, she drools green cud and lies around shitting in bed. Once or twice he's felt the urge to stab her to death with his four-pronged pitchfork, but he was too Christian for that sort of behavior. Maybe he could be accidentally, maybe I think it's she. I mean, half of this stuff's cut off because maybe she could be accidentally harvested. Damn bitch never gets out of bed. Damn fat sick sow. She should maybe join one of those clubs for women with nothing better to do with their to do during. Jesus, I don't know what any of this says. The day, maybe? Then sit around and talk to each other over a game of cards. Bridge club, that's it. Then she'd have to get out of bed, wash herself off, and meet the fucking world head on. And if she don't, she'll lose her head. I'll knock the fat retarded thing off her shoulders and into a beautiful hole in the ground marked with a stone to read, wife of a man to. Oh, wife of a man who loved to dance and sing and instead got married to someone who brought her own bed, and that's why she ended up dead. But she'd never go for that. She wasn't the social type anyway. Then again, who is? I mean, old Jed Jones here hasn't seen hide nor hair of his three sons in over 15 years. They went off to become businessmen and sewage treatment plant supervisors. And the youngest, little Cledence, who Jed admired, above the other two, went off to become a plastic surgeon and changed his name to Rob or some outlandish thing like that. I mean, if I could do it all over again, which I wouldn't, Jed would tell the chickens, while carefully taking their eggs, I'd teach them boys to respect the earth and give back what they take and watch for storm squalls and important things like that. The boys were across town pecking for food at the local eatery when up drove Jed in his Clampett mobile. You there, get in the back so we can go home. I'm sick and tired of chasing you lot around town. Now get in. They all looked up and rolled as best they could over to the tailgateless truck and hopped in. On the way home, they talked amongst themselves and started forming plans so that they could escape the old man forever. They were sick of his ridiculous storm squall stories and his conversations with the animals. I mean, is he a farmer or fucking Dr. Doolittle? Cledence would say behind the old man's back. He didn't know it at the time, but old Jed Jones actually had a PhD in medicine and performed many unauthorized and unorthodox experiments involving telepathy between humans and barnyard animals. The kids couldn't stand it when he would disappear into the barn with a goat or sheep he'd just bought and spend all night screaming at it. They just figured since Mom was sick and fat something, but why couldn't he just get a hooker or something normal? Truth was, Jed was as straight as a pin. Well, a straight pin, not one of those fancy curly pins. Oh, sorry. I was actually remembering it from 30 years ago. Well, a straight pin, not one of those Russian curly pins. You know what I'm talking about. We're all commies here. Something of something had made advances on him one night, and he didn't take too kindly towards it. In fact, he went right up to his room and got the double barrel shotgun from over his bed, and I don't know what that is. Chased the chicken right into the backfield, shooting into the air as he went. Okay, the plan was ready. The chickens knew what each of them had to do. First things first, they'd slip the wife some sort of Spanish fly stuff so she started to drool from both ends. When they would get the farmer to go upstairs by making love in the barn, one thing about Farmer Jones, he sure could take a hint. When he got up there and saw his wet wife in the wet bed covered in wet, he just about lost his lunch, breakfast, and supper from the night before. Sweet mother of Jesus, he cried. What the hell's gotten into you, you fat bitch? Look, I don't share these values anymore, and I don't even know if I wrote that. It might have been Chris, but, you know, 16. Apologies. Um, all she'd do is beckon him with a sausage finger, green cud stained and wet. Jed got down on his knees and prayed for a quick death. Lucky for him, it came true, and quick as a flash at that. A golden beam of jagged light struck the fat woman's conductive brass bed frame and fried her. Jed could never stand the sight, smell, or sound of frying bacon again. In fact, he became a vegetarian and became rich with all of the insurance money and money saved from not eating all that expensive meat. Jed soon got into show business and had his own television show called The Way the Wife Was Cooked. But it wasn't very popular and was soon replaced by Seinfeld, which was another comedy show based around the same characters and theme. Holy crap. Okay, like, no one claimed that this stuff was good. This was like stream of consciousness nonsense, probably alcohol or drug fueled. We have a lovely little picture page. Let's have a little drink. A little drinky poo from our tea. Okay, so the next page, this is the actual thing that started it all, the 1919 switcheroo. I think it was written at the same time as that stupid farm thing. It would have been on the other typewriter, and then we switched. I mean, it'd be nice if the second word wasn't incorrect. No idea how long this has gone on for yet. Issue 2 might actually have to be a different video. Moonlight bleed off the store's old copper roof and trickled down to the filthy street below. The gutted out schoolhouse-style building had a bell tower and was constructed of red brick, but no ringing ever came from the bell, for there wasn't ever one in it. Rationing during the Great Narcotics War of 1919 required all schoolhouse-style buildings with bell towers to submit the bells to be melted down to make new hypo needles to keep the junkie's veins open and clean. One needs cleanliness in this day and age, for the Tri-Date Commission has outlawed all other forms of ritual torture for the young. So showers are all a parent can use to control the soon-to-be sucking the system dry, bell-melting, pill-popping, degenerate typewriter guys. Yeah, like I actually remember reading this 30 years ago in front of people. It's insanity. The only legal type of self-mutilation was rectal piercing. But since it was in style, the youth of today have had a sudden increase in intestinal rupturing due to backed up digestive tracts. What have kids come to nowadays with their suffocating baby teeth locked away in their skulls, feeding solely on soft bananas and rancid pudding? Who can save the Hitler youth of society, ready to kill not only different and more appealing lifestyles of the rich, undernourished tycoons looking only to increase their wealth, but also the government controllers of 19 Day? Ditch all the government controllers and live for yourselves, says the boy screamer street kid, too old for it is too old for his age, has been fucking the govs for years, and knows much of polity and the workings of the system, and he hates it. got AIDS from his mother, whose dying words were, "Do all you can with the life you have." So he decided to fuck all involved government assholes who really deserve the input from a concerned citizen. And so by the time the boy died, he will have had the pleasure of knowing there would be a change in the world. One man can make a difference if he has a gift and puts his whole mind and body to the task, never losing hope of having perfection in the palm of your hand. There was always enough room for it, and your dick. Safe sex in the 1919s. I even heard of a chap by the name of Lewisburg who once, I think it was killed, who once killed 17 rebels in the Great Narcotics War. So don't bitch to me about a general lack of morality among suburban youths in this city of insubordinate prepubescent world leaders. I just hope to God Almighty we can outdo these goddamn Eurojaps at their own game. Social obedience, my ass. The only way to prove to the world that casual sex is not only morally correct, but also mandatory. And I mean casual. So casual, in fact, all you have to do to make love to someone is to shake their hand. Amputees need not apply. Holy shit, these telepersonals are really getting me down, man. All they do is tell you that you're in a world where there are tens of thousands of millions of other people like you to be around. Look, it's not the easiest thing with barely any punctuation and, like, two people writing it at the same time. Tens of thousands of people around like you to be around. I swear all the great minds are getting together and are going to send all the people that are in the telepersonals to the island of fucking Get a Lifesville, where they can all fuck like mink and raise children who turn out to be plumbers like them. Or if you're a girl, you could be the spokesperson for the new government that just talks all day, like all good farmers and construction workers do. The offices will consist of a newspaper depot where all the workers can come in and get their morning paper to have something to talk about all day long, except for the fact that Thing Island will not have anything actually newsworthy to speak of. Not like there is anything good to read about anyway. This damn world and all its inhabitants needs some sort of spiritual reform. Maybe even one started by the very narcotics used to destroy it. Thing Island's inhabitants don't care of reform, only of new fucking things to read about. Truth is, they're all illiterate, but try to impress each other by pretending they know how to read and write. It hardly works, but if someone admits to being illiterate, the whole system comes to a crashing halt. The public doesn't need to be informed, it already knows. On Thing Island, or in the United National Province Land, UNPL, no one even really cares. Their policy is to turn a blind eye while everything goes on behind their backs. What kind of fucking system is that? Fuck, man. I mean, once I saw this dame on Valium get it from her doctor right there in the office. He prescribed the drug because she had trouble sleeping. Then he gave it to her. Then he gave it to her. Only he gave her 3 times as much as he should have, and she passed out on the examination table. So he put her legs in the stirrups, ripped off her panties, and then squirted her with water right inside, flushing out her box, leaving only a clean-smelling fold worthy of a doctor's touch. I mean, shit, stuff like this always used to go on in Doc Brown's office. The nurses knew it. They just loved being blind too much. Don't think the patients didn't realize it either. Doc had scandal written across his scalpel. Well, it was his middle name. But the patients could smell it on him like his cheap cologne and deodorant, which actually smelled worse than Rhino's BO. Once, just as the old doc tried to get his hands on a leper's wilted cock, the leper sprang to life and empties his bladder onto poor Doc Brown's white coat. Well, believe you me, that was the last time Doc Brown brought his work home. But on a sad note, whatever happened to good old gene control? I mean, get rid of those stupid rebel doctors once and for all, breed a new batch of syntho doctors and nurses, and we no longer have to deal with the notoriously delicious Dr. W.S. Brown, also known as the malpractice prince of tidal station managers. I don't know, man. When you don't expect that anyone will actually read what you write, it's very freeing to write whatever. I don't remember which of these things I wrote. Let's. Colonel's monologue was written by Chris, although I actually read that in the Poetry Art Music Night. Timeless, I can't remember. These don't have names on them, so I'm not going to read those. This I know. The tree page I wrote. I daydreamed one day that there was a girl who was floating around and upside down, and so I started to eat her. And then her crotch and abdomen and stomach turned to strawberry jello, and the sweet chunks slid down my throat. Which was actually a daydream I had once. I think I was waiting for my girlfriend to finish her job at the grocery store, and I was sitting in my car, and I thought that, and so I wrote it down. Typewriter Man. Let's do that. Open on a man sitting in an old fashioned rocking chair, his teeth chattering away. He is Typewriter Man. Typewriter Man, does whatever a typewriter can. Types a line, makes a ding, then you push that lever thing. Look out! Here comes the Typewriter Man. There you go. Asylum of Choice. 5 sides black, face to the light. Eyes are closed, still I have sight. Bright light blinds fade to friends. Here at my funeral, this is the end. Families here, tears abound. Preacher starts, I don't hear a sound. I am dead, this is the end. Oh, could I please have it to do over again? Haha! I actually remember writing that when I was like 14. We're all so dramatic, we want to kill ourselves, and life is unfair, and you grow out of that. Life becomes easier to deal with. So, there are suicide helplines if anyone's watching this and feels actually suicidal. And seriously, like, do it. Because, like, I was stupid suicidal. I turned to writing and wrote out everything I was feeling. Again, there's like thousands of pages in this box I've got beside me. You can grow out of it if it's simply internal. If it's an abuse situation, then get police help, or at least contact the hotline. Serious. Credit page. Okay, that, and then there's the last page that was on the back of it. So that's issue 1. Let's say that issue 1 is it for this video. We can do issue 2 in the next video if you so desire. Leave a comment if you would like to hear me read issue 2. Again, if you want a PDF of these things, sign up to the newsletter, and that's the safest way for me to get your email so I can send you this stuff. I mean, I don't want your email in the comments section. You'll have endless spam from, I don't know, crazy spam stuff. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time, and have an amazing day.